right, Marlon.
Go ahead, Hughes. We started. Go ahead. You good.
All right, well, welcome to Spitting Sports, where our host is Marlon Jackson and myself, Gary Hughes. We also have special co-host. I'm gonna call him Dump Truck Don. I'm gonna call you a special co-host, Dump Truck Don. And oh man, we are graced to have Brian Montgomery. Oh my goodness, huh? We've been trying to get Brian on for about maybe about a year and a half, maybe. But we're gonna get to our first topic, and it's centered around these two young quarterbacks. And I know you all have probably more information on both of them than I do. But we're going to talk about Jordan Love, the coach of the Houston Texans, and his fabulous first playoff win yesterday. His first playoff game with a playoff win. And then we're going to go to talk a little bit about Jordan Love. This is not his first year with the Packers, but it is his first year starting. And in his first playoff starting, he got himself a win. So when you think about these two young quarterbacks and you think about the Washington Commanders and the young quarterback they had this year for the past 2 years, but he started, he was a full-time starter this year until he got benched at the end of the year. Mr. Sam Howell, my guy. I'm just going to put full disclosure. He's my guy, man. You remember that song?
Benched twice.
My Girl by the Temptations, Marlon. Sam Howell is my guy. That's my guy. And I'm all on board with him coming back next year. But with that being said, let's move into Dump Truck Don. Don, talk to me a little bit about how you feel about Jordan Love and CJ Stroud and their impact, maybe not just with the Commanders, but around the league.
First of all, your boy Sam Howell got benched twice. All right. Let's get that out the way. 2 times. And was slated to be back up in week 17 because he has not been producing. When it comes to Jordan Love, he sat behind a legend. Who sat behind a legend? Green Bay knows how to get it done. CJ Stroud, rookie cornerback, coming with a rookie coach, working with Bobby Slowick, who might be coming to Washington, which will be a good thing for the Washington program because I heard the guy has worked with offense and defense, so he would actually know how to run an entire team, unlike some other folks coming in. So that would be my cast at this point for one of my choices as a coach. But as far as the impact, they had a pretty good impact on the game. Jordan Love kept his thing hit. He was even keeled the whole time. He made all his throws. He's used to playing in the cold, so when they play in the warm weather, it makes no difference at all. Cowboys didn't show up as usual. They looked like Ron Rivera was coaching them in October. That's what it looked like to me. They just looked bad. So, yeah, the impact was felt.
How many throws did Jordan Love make?
I don't know. I think they both had similar numbers. I mean, 16 or 21, something like that. Both of them.
He made 21 attempts.
Yeah, I think both of them had like 16 for 21.
That's key. And how many attempts did Sam Howell had to make a game? Probably about 50.
40 a game at least, yeah.
Yeah, so
he threw against Chicago. He threw 30 straight? 35 straight, something like that?
Did he?
Consecutive against Chicago. Yes, when they got blown out on Thursday night, he threw like 35 consecutive attempts at passes, Joe.
And you don't see that being a problem?
Oh, that's a problem, Joe. Being down like that all the time, yeah. But
okay,
it's probably his fault too, you know.
Why is it his fault? What's the part that's his fault?
Execution from the quarterback position. You seen it when Jacoby Brissett came in with the same team, and they went down the field and scored touchdowns. 5 drives, 5 touchdowns. Sam couldn't do that. Sam wasn't doing that. So, yeah, you got to put some of the blame on Sam. Once you see it works with somebody else with the same players in there, yeah, it's not the whole team. It's the quarterback, so yeah, you need to be looking at a quarterback number 2.
Okay. And how about how you feel about CJ Stroud? Oh,
Very
I'm
impressive.
sorry. I'm sorry, Jordan Love. Oh, you talked about both of them. Okay. Uh, B Mon.
What's up, fellas? Thanks for having me on. First and foremost, man. I know it's been a while. I told my wife that y'all have been asking me for a year. So to hear that it's been a year and a half, 2 years, man.
That
This
says
is
a lot, man.
this is
That's
special.
good.
But I saved it for this special day, man. When Josh Allen was coming on TV just for Marlon and Hughes. But anyway, hey, Hughes, to answer your question. First of all, I think it's a great question, man. What does Jordan Love and CJ Stroud, or how do their performances, if I understand correctly, impact the Commanders' current situation? I think it has great impact on it, especially from a fan perspective. But in a nutshell, I would say this: Jordan Love's and CJ Stroud's performance, not only this weekend, but throughout the whole season, it can show you what can be when an organization gets behind a young quarterback. And there are different ways to skin a cat. You had one organization who decided to draft a quarterback. Mind you, they moved up to draft that kid and caught flack about it from me too. To sit behind Aaron Rodgers, he sat for what, 3 years before being. Yep, he sat for 3 seasons before being asked to take over the reins. And then you have another situation, slightly different or largely different, in that CJ Stroud was drafted at the top of the draft and asked to come in and start right away. We end the season with both teams winning 10 games and their opening round playoff games. So I think the first thing to note is this: there's no one way that you have to skin a cat in order to see playoff success in the NFL. We all have arguments on how teams should be built, what they should be built around. But you need a good quarterback, and both situations show you that there are different ways, and it's more than just those 2 ways that you can go about doing it. In terms of the Commanders, I think what's important to highlight is that Jordan Love and CJ Stroud had behind them what Sam Howell did not, which was an organization that was fully supportive of them as quarterbacks. Sam Howell was named the starter basically after beating Dallas in what for us was a meaningless game at the end of the 22 season. But unfortunately, the way I see it is Sam Howell got hit with straight bullets, man. First and foremost, he took over the starting position for a team in which Ron Rivera was almost a lame duck coach, and he kind of needed a miracle in order to continue his coaching career with the Commanders. He needed to win. He needed to win big, and most agree he probably needed to win at least one playoff game and not just make it. He was coming off a season as head coach where his offensive coordinator, Scott Turner, was not very good in terms of making us a productive offensive unit. So he had pressure on him to improve his offense by bringing in an offensive coordinator. He goes out and he gets pretty much the splashiest name on the market in Eric Bieniemy, who himself was under a lot of pressure in that he had been the offensive coordinator in Kansas City for years, but he could not get a head coaching opportunity in the league where successful offensive and defensive coordinators were getting opportunities each year. So the question became, why isn't EB getting these opportunities? And we still don't know the answer, but some of the answers, or one of the answers that were provided, is that he doesn't call the plays in Kansas City. Andy Reid does. So for EB, what I'm getting to is that this was a prove it year for him as well. So I think instead of him looking at Sam Howell and saying, I have a young quarterback who was 1 year removed from being a rookie with no real game experience, say for that one game, and I'm going to tailor how I call this offense around his strengths and weaknesses as a young quarterback, EB decides, in my estimation, I need to call this season in a way where it makes me look like an offensive genius, like I can be with the big boys, so that I can prove myself that, or prove to the league that y'all been missing out this whole time. Unfortunately, Sam Howell was an innocent bystander in both of those wars, man. He caught straight bullets. There's no way he should have been asked to pass the ball as many times as he was asked. But because EB and Ron both had to prove something offensively and from a comprehensive team standpoint, he got hit with those straight bullets.
Wow. Hey, man, you just said a mouthful right there. And me and you know, we've talked about this before. And you're right. He kind of got like set up. However, you know, as Don would probably say, you got to put up or shut up regardless. The only thing that I would like to say about EB is you prove yourself when you cater your offense to your quarterback. That's why Joe Gibbs is a Hall of Fame coach, because he will alter his system based upon his players, in particular his quarterbacks. If you ask me, I don't see with Joe Theismann, Mark Rippon, Doug Williams, I'm going to give him a little bit of a leash because he had bad knees. He was old at the time. But physically, I don't see that they're more gifted, right, than Sam Young. But they had, of course, back then, a world-class organization. They had the Hogs. They had good running backs. You know, they had, you know, wide receivers. They came from.
Don't forget defense.
Oh, yeah, I can't forget about that. Those D lines, you know, the Redskins had at the time too. So I just think, you know, for Sam, man, he, as you say, he got caught up, man. You know, he was lined up with straight bullets. And of course, our media and our great Washingtonian fans who always want something to happen quick and fast in a hurry, we can't wait for nothing. So, you know, there you have it. So with that being said, Marlon, who are the Commanders? Since it looks like they're gonna move on from Sam, who do they choose? Who do they go? Who do they go with?
I mean, looking at this draft, I mean, it's hard to choose. I mean, you got it depends on, you know, what type of QB they want on that team, because each QB has a different style that they bring to the table. So if the Commanders are going to go after a QB, I mean, I would say if you're going to use that number 2 pick, I mean, I haven't really seen all the QBs in college, but it's really hard for me to tell. So it would be biased for me to choose a quarterback. But I think right now, if I was the Commanders, I wouldn't put all my marbles into a quarterback. I would kind of do like what King said yesterday and kind of just, you know, trade down and go after pieces.
Don't say trade down to Montgomery, man.
Only reason why I say that.
Montgomery,
be careful. You gotta be careful with that.
But reason why I say that is because it's just like when it came to like the Texans, it took them a while before they finally started putting like pieces together, before they kind of got like a solid team that can compete. With Sam Howell, like how Coach Montgomery was saying earlier, Sam Howell got the short end of the stick. But I feel like if you give him the necessary tools and the pieces around him, I kind of think we'll see a different Sam Howell next season going into the Commanders year. Because at the same time, it's just like we're judging it off of just this season, and it's just like we really ain't give Sam.
Well, hold up, Marlon. Sam Howell was getting the buckets for 7 weeks.
Yeah, but that's 7 weeks out of a year. So
out of 17 games.
Yeah,
let's not act like he was a bum. Let's not.
I'm not saying he's a bum, but I'm saying he's not on the status to where I can put him in my like top 20 quarterbacks right now in the NFL.
He's not carrying the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that can get the job done when it needs to be done sometimes, but he's not a quarterback that I would say, hey, I'm going to go pick him up in my fantasy. I'm going to go pick him up, you know what I'm saying, in free agency. But he's a guy right now that I think needs another, I would say, more time to see what he can do. I think this 1 year is not enough time to see what he can really do. Unless you put the pieces around him, then I would say once you have the pieces around him,
but he has the pieces
the same thing, then I'd say let's go after that quarterback, because I feel like if you put a quarterback in this system right now with Washington, they're gonna end up the same way that all these other quarterbacks who Washington drafted have turned out. And it's just like we don't need to keep repeating that cycle. You know what I'm saying?
What pieces?
Because
what pieces you talking about in front?
B-Rob.
In front of him? What pieces in front of him?
Run the football.
What pieces in front of him?
That O-line.
No, that's not a piece.
O-line will pass block when they run block. They have to run block first.
No, man.
I'm glad you on the mic, man. Talk to me about.
Andrew, Wiley is trash. Wiley is trash. Your boy left tackle was not good at all. Left guard wasn't that good. Sam Cosby was the only one you really had out that joint that was doing any productive, actually productive and good at what he was doing. The offensive line has been offensive for years. Well, not for years. This year specifically because of the deterioration of the line from what Ron had when he first got there, just sending people away and all that stuff. So, and bringing in trash to try to recycle it and make it look good. Nah, he's got no pieces in front. He needs a lot of help. You don't know who's going to be there next year. Jacoby is unrestricted free agent as far as a backup quarterback. You don't know. Curtis Samuel is an unrestricted free agent. He might go somewhere. But Sam Howell is under contract, being this will be his third year coming up, so he's still under contract. He'll still be there. They might have a competition depending on who the coach and offensive coordinator is, and make him decide if he was worth, starting over somebody who they pick a second or something like that. So
who they gonna pick? Who you going with? Dump Truck Don. What's the quarterback that you would like for the Commanders to pick?
I'd like to see Jaden Daniels personally. Caleb Williams, he finally declared for the draft today, and today was the last day. So we're not sure what's going to happen with that. We're not sure what the Bears are going to do with number one. Everybody think they're going to pick Caleb Williams. They might pick Marvin Harrison Jr. They could do that, and Caleb would sit there for number two. We have no clue how things are going to shake out. They might trade the pick. They might trade the pick to some other team, and they might pick Caleb Williams. We have no idea how this is going to play out right now. All we know is at 2, who are your options between what most hyped about is Drake May, Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels. And if I got my options, I'm taking Jaden Daniels because I don't want nobody looking like Mitchell Trubisky 2.0 coming out of UNC. And I don't want nobody coming out of USC looking like, I don't know, who's it? I forgot the guy's name. He played for the Raiders. Oh, man. It was a long time.
But I want to challenge that Dump Truck. Now, if you look at May in isolation, right, and you tell me you don't want him, I can understand it. But why are we associating May with Trubisky? Because they went to the same school?
And Sam Howell went to the same school. Yes.
Okay.
There's a line.
So would the Texans have made that same mistake if they looked at the JT Barretts, the
Ohio State quarterback, Dwayne Haskins, and
they make the same mistake off of that logic. So I really don't get why people are saying that. CJ Stroud went to the same school as those unsuccessful quarterbacks, but he's not those unsuccessful quarterbacks apparently. So I'm just saying, if May is not the guy, and I can say why I think he could be the guy for us, but if he's not the guy, I hope it's not just because he went to UNC.
No, I don't. I've watched no film on that dude. I just don't. I got a bad feeling about it. Sometimes my bad feelings be right. And when it comes to guys coming out of certain colleges as quarterbacks, USC and OSU, Ohio State, had been a dumpster fire for quarterbacks coming out for years. Like that, CJ Stroud, if he makes the Pro Bowl this year, he'll be the first Pro Bowl quarterback from that college ever, I believe.
Man, Haskins was nice, man.
Haskins, man, please let's keep this on. Rest in peace, man. Let's keep this current, man.
Haskins had my man. What's his name? The coach of Vikings.
He was a head case, man.
Kevin O'Connell.
Your boy was a head case. I'm sorry. You don't go out and do the game against the Lions. You out there taking selfies and stuff when they won? Really? I knew something was off at that point in time. Your starting quarterback is supposed to be on the field taking their final knee. He up there in the crowd taking selfies.
Get off track talking about.
Well, your man Gus Farrat was doing head
running into the head.
Hey, Marlon, we going left, Marlon. We going left.
And Heineke was smashing beer bottles in his forehead.
Yeah, that ain't got nothing to do with current day topics, man. We got
your man Kirk Cousins up there in Minnesota with his shirt off, with his chains on, cheering in front of the
suite. He paid too. He's still throwing for 4,000 yards a year.
Okay. Well, any final thoughts, Montgomery before we move on to the next topic?
I'll just say this. I said all I said about Sam Howell, that he caught straight bullets, but at the same time, I'm with Dump Truck Don in that over a 17-game stretch, right? He did not show enough for a new regime to come in here. You talking about basically a new owner, a new GM, a new head coach, presumably a new offensive coordinator. They have to come in here and make the decision on, do we stick with Sam Howell or do we take this opportunity at number 2 to draft one of the top prospects coming out of college? And what I'm saying is, I'm not ragging on Sam Howell, but I am saying he did not do enough to make that a hard decision. He did not do enough to make that a hard decision. When all those guys sit in the room and say, who do we want to lead this franchise at the helm, we got to get a top pick, because Sam didn't show us enough to say, ooh, let's stick with him. That's all I'm saying.
So what else did you want Sam to show us?
I wanted to show what, in order for them to say we're gonna use this number 2 pick on something else.
Not leading interceptions.
He would have had to show a lot more. He would have had to show more pocket poise for me. He would have had to show his best plays to me that I've seen came on off schedule. Rarely did his 3rd or 5th or 7th step on them dropbacks where he plant and just find a man and hit him open. Rarely did he make those. I think it wasn't until like week 17 that he threw a pass over 30 yards, something crazy like that. No deep balls, and he like actually missed some, Hughes. So he has arm talent, but you got to show it. If you don't show it, then what good is it?
So he basically looked like Dak Prescott last night.
I'll drink some water to that.
Nah, I ain't gonna go on my man Dak. Let's go ahead and move to our second topic. Hey, it is what it is. Is it time for McCartney to go? Is it time for Dak to go? What's going on? I personally,
I think it's time for Dak to go. I think McCartney hasn't had too much time to spend with Dak, and I think Dak has been with Cowboys for 8 years now, if I'm not mistaken, 7-8 years now. So
has it been that long?
I think it's been close to it, if not. But I'm just like, I don't think Dak is that guy that everybody expects to be, man. And
Marlon, that defense was horrible, man.
I mean, I get it. Like I said, I'm not blaming Dak for that game, because, like I said, it was a team effort on both sides of the field. But what I'm saying is, I'm just like going into this, how Coach Montgomery was saying earlier, into the new regime. If you're gonna go into a new regime, you can't, sit back.
They're not going to a new regime.
But I'm saying if they're going, we don't know. Like I said, they could be, with the head coach and quarterback. And I think that if they are, I think Dak is not the guy to take with you into adding to the new regime or creating the new regime.
Why not?
Because I think Dak has shown us in those 8 years that he can't get the job done. I think that he's good in the regular season, but when it comes to the postseason, it's just like he doesn't show up. It's like we get a whole different Dak.
But here's your mistake, Marlon. You're absolutely right in that they fall flat on their face in the playoffs, right? But the risk you run and getting rid of Dak and bringing in somebody else, who you going to bring in? Hey, Marlon, yes, he's falling on his face, but it's not easy to win 12 games in the NFL every year. I don't know if you know this, but that's no easy thing to do. So I'm not excusing Zach, but what I'm saying is this. You do have to do something different. So to answer the question, Hughes, if I may, I think Jerry Jones has to think about a coaching change, but you keep your quarterback. Good quarterbacks don't grow on trees. You have a good quarterback. I'm not calling him elite. I'm not calling him a superstar, but he's a good quarterback. What you need is a coach that's going to come in and have your team ready to play when it counts. The Cowboys have a roster that can win 12 games a year. They have some demons on their team in CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, Dexter Lawrence. So you keep the roster together to include the quarterback, and you bring somebody in here who, when it comes time for a playoff game, he's going to have his team ready to play. I don't know what Mike McCarthy is doing, but for whatever reason, when it counts, his teams haven't been ready to play.
Playoffs?
Mike McCarthy, he had Aaron Rodgers, and he only won one championship with that dude. And this is a continual thing. It was 15-1, and they lost to the Giants in the first round. The Packers. I'm like, so Mike McCarthy has to be the common denominator in all of this. It's not Dak. Dak is playing as best as he can. And at one point, they were talking about Dak might be MVP. I'm like, yeah, y'all passing it off to anybody nowadays. But yeah, because he had decent numbers. He had pretty good numbers actually this year, as opposed to leading league in interceptions last year. But yeah, Dak is not the issue. The issue is the coaching. It's like Ron Rivera's over that joint. That they not prepared. They come out lackluster. It was just slow, and they got behind the 8 ball quickly. So that's the head coach, man.
Hey, Dumb Trump Don, I hate to ask you this question because it's going to offend you, but I want you to answer it anyway, please. What's the best coach to bring in for the Cowboys of the people that's out there waiting to get coaching jobs? Belichick,
because he ain't got to worry about trying to figure out what players to bring in because he got plenty of talent. He can just, you just do this, do that, blah, 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 scheme it up, and it works. He had no talent up there in New England because he was too busy being GM and head coach and picked a bunch of trash players. So Belichick as a head coach could still get it done in Dallas. I'm sure of that.
What you think, Montgomery?
I like that. I think Belichick still has what it takes to put together a game-winning game plan.
He only won 4 games, Montgomery.
Who?
With the talent he had?
Oh, yeah, that's with the talent he had. But we've seen what he can do when he has talent. So
I think that man too old, man.
For that job, I like Bill Belichick or Mike.
I like Vrabel.
Yeah, I like Vrabel. I like Vrabel for that job as well.
What you think, Marlon?
To be honest, I mean, I would go with. It's hard, man, because it's just I like McCarthy, but I mean, if they're gonna change, I would say you gotta go with. I like Pete Carroll. You know, I've always been a huge Pete Carroll type of fan from college until now, man.
Pete Carroll should have got fired when he didn't get a ball to beast mode, man. That should have been his last.
Why you always bring that up, man? Like
that was the worst non-call ever, man.
What about Jim Harbaugh?
Now, I don't think Harbaugh fits that Cowboys very well. I think Harbaugh is better with like AFC teams, NFC teams. Harbaugh, I've seen it's just like he had a good.
He took the 49ers there.
Yeah, he had a good year with the 49ers, but I don't think it was just like to a point where he had to leave to go to Michigan. You know, so
you know what the situation reminds me of, Hughes, because you said Belichick is too old, and I know it's 2 totally different sports. But it reminds me of Phil Jackson being old and coming back to win a couple more championships with the Los Angeles Lakers. You have a roster that has championship caliber talent.
I see what you're saying.
But you need somebody that's going to come in who the players, even though he's old, his championships aren't so far removed that he can't kind of like show them and say, hey, y'all been winning 12 games. But I've won 7 championships or 6, however many it's been. This is what we need to do. He's going to come in and talk about championship from a place of conviction that's believable, from Jerry Jones all the way down to the equipment manager. And I think that's what they really need.
Hey, man, good points. I'm gonna stretch out there and sound crazy. I'm bringing in Neon Deion. Prime time.
You're right. You sound crazy.
Let's get that thing popping.
Man, he ain't gonna do that, man. He know who Jerry
with T.O. and all them on the sideline. What's the name?
It'll be a show. That will be something Deion would do. Leave one company, go to another in search of fame and money, which he's always done. I mean, he left Atlanta, went to 49ers, left there after one season with the Cowboys. And yeah, That's something that
Didn't he
Deion would do, Joe.
go play baseball too for a minute and then
Yeah.
come back to the NFL. So
Play at the same time in Atlanta.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. Predictions for today's game. Who's that? Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Marlon, I'm gonna let you start off because you said something crazy yesterday. You and Don, I think.
What?
Who's winning the Buffalo Pittsburgh game?
I'm going with Pittsburgh, man. And the reason I'm going with Pittsburgh is not because I don't like Josh Allen. I'm going with Pittsburgh because of tradition. Like when you hear Pittsburgh Steelers, you know that they're always that team to be there to make the playoffs. Win or lose, you know, you hear about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Buffalo, like I said, Buffalo, I think the only way Buffalo wins this game is if they don't beat themselves. And I think that's what Buffalo's key issue is. It's not that they can't beat great teams. It's just that for some reason, that one mistake takes away their whole momentum for the rest of the game.
Well, they always got the referees on their side, too. Don, go ahead. Buffalo, Pittsburgh.
I want Pittsburgh to win. I think Josh Allen going to throw a couple turnovers. Give it up, man, because I know T.J. Watt not going to be there, but Minka Patrick is going to be there. So the man in the backfield going to make a difference. So
he going to give it up like they used to give it up on Eastern Avenue after the club back in the day.
14th and K. 4th and K. Yeah. 5th and K.
Montgomery, who you going with?
Y'all know I'm going with Buffalo, man. If T.J. Watt was there, it would be a little scary because he will not only throw interceptions, Don, but he'll fumble that thing too, and he still might. But since they fired their defensive coordinator, hey Marlon, how many games have they lost?
Pittsburgh?
No, Buffalo.
6.
No, lost. Since they fired that offensive coordinator.
They only lost one.
Just one by 3 points in overtime. And in the midst of that, Josh Allen has had games where he's turned the ball over, but this is what they do now. They no longer have been asking Josh Allen to be Superman. They've been handing the ball off more to James Cook. And when he does turn it over, their defense has been able to mitigate that by bending but not breaking against the other team's offense. So if you're Pittsburgh, do you really have the quarterback in place to put up the number of points that you need to outscore Josh Allen? I don't think so. So I'm going with Buffalo.
But hey, there was one thing
ugly.
You said, when I was talking to you on the phone, you said it takes 1 week. You got 1 week to prepare for one team. So I think Pittsburgh took that 1 week and some days to get prepared for the Buffalo Bills.
Hey, Marlon, you must think Buffalo didn't, huh?
I ain't saying they didn't, but I'm saying, with Pittsburgh, like I said, they know they got Mike Tomlin knows it's one game. And he's like, this one game here, we're gonna figure out what we can do to neutralize Buffalo.
Hey Don.
Everybody already knows they feel Buffalo's gonna be the team to win, and Pittsburgh's the underdog. So
thank you. Hey Don, is Josh Allen overrated?
Overhyped, not overrated.
What you mean by that? Explain that to me.
You can be overrated. Overrated is somebody like Eli Manning is the most overrated player in NFL history. He's supposed to go to the Hall of Fame because he beat Tom Brady twice. No, he's the most mediocre quarterback in NFL. He has a 500 record as a quarterback. He led the league interception 3 times, which no other player had done. And there's all this hype about him going to the Hall of Fame because he beat Tom Brady in 2 games. That's it. That is overrated. Overhyped is another thing. Overhyped is like, Bo Jackson should be one of the greatest running backs in NFL history, right? He's never had a 1,000-yard season. Tecmo Bowl. Hype. He was a great player, but he played baseball and football at the same time. He had a 5.4 yard per carry average for his career, but he never scored more than 17 touchdowns. Greatest player of all, greatest running back? No, that's hype, shorty. You can't say that. Josh Allen is not overrated. He is damn good. He is overhyped a little bit. I mean, because they try to not to talk about the turnovers. He's had like 44, I think, total touchdowns this year. And the turnovers they haven't talked about as much, but he's led the league in turnovers since he's been in the league. So
They don't do that, man. He has a pass, man. But they'll talk about my man Sam Howell all day long.
Here's the difference, Hughes. They do. He does get a pass for the turnovers. I give you that. But his many turnovers have not turned into losing seasons and lack of playoff victories.
Okay.
That's the reality.
All right. Well, you guys, thank you so much.
Hey, Hughes, you got one more game. You slipping.
Oh, okay. Philly, Tampa Bay.
Who you got, Hughes? I know who you got.
I'm going with Philly.
Yeah, you a Jalen Hurts guy.
I just feel like Jalen Hurts, he
told you.
he got that bag this year, and he hasn't been as focused because he got a couple new girlfriends and stuff. But he gonna pull it out today.
He said they won.
Hughes, I agree. I agree that the Eagles will win today.
Nah, AJ Brown was out. Jalen Hurts is nursing a finger issue. He's gonna cause him to have some throwing accuracies. Their secondary is trash. They've lost 5 out of 6. First team in NFL history to win 10 games and not win 12. Be 10-1 and not go and not win 12 games. Yeah, the Eagles have fallen off the cliff, Joe. The Buccaneers are playing pretty good, and I don't think that the secondary will be able to stop the wide receivers from Tampa Bay. So, yeah, Buccaneers.
Okay, Marlon.
I like Philly, but I'm going with Buffalo. I gotta go with reality, man. And the reality,
Buffalo?
Yeah, I mean not Buffalo, Tampa Bay. The reason why I say that is because I'm like Baker Mayfield one is a comeback kid to me. You know, Baker Mayfield after leaving Carolina to come to Tampa Bay, and then to do what he did with Tampa Bay just shows that I think Baker Mayfield has a lot to prove, and I think he's going to prove it today.
He's a white boy that's got more chances than he's supposed to get because he's a white boy.
How many white boys have we seen that got plenty of chances that what they weren't supposed to get, man?
So,
I mean, you can go down
Nathan Peterman. Sam Howell's got a lot of chances too, but yeah, we're gonna leave that alone.
Hey, one bonus question before we sign off is if we go into basketball real quick and then we going off, is Michael Cooper a Hall of Famer?
Here you go. Here you go.
Why he like messing with you
And
about that, man?
And Robert Horry and Michael Cooper are they Hall of Fame?
We can't ask for Robert Horry. He ain't on here to defend that story, man. His side of it, man.
Oh, what side of the story? The man was never averaged like his career average like 7 points. Come on, man. You didn't put no guy with 7 points and like 3 rebounds into the Hall of Fame because he made some shots and got 7 rings. He was a bench rider, Joe. His only accolade was making the all rookie team. That's it. That dude's not Hall of Fame material. Stop.
And with that being said, we're gonna sign off, and hopefully we can get you guys back on next Sunday. We're gonna try to do every Sunday until the Super Bowl. So I'll talk to you guys offline to see what the best times for you all. And let's go, Josh Allen. Let's go, Josh Allen. And let's go, Jalen Hurts.
All right, y'all.
Hey, man.
Peace.
Make
Thank you all.